Alzheimer is the most common type of dementia on the planet. The older we get, the more likely we are to develop the disease. While most cases emerge after the age of 60, about 4% to 5% of people are affected starting from the age of 30. The truth is that no one is exempt from this risk, and the issue concerns everyone. Researchers worldwide dedicate their lives to understanding the causes and progression of Alzheimer's. Despite the absence of a cure, recent findings suggest that science is getting closer to this reality every day. From now on, we'll delve into these discoveries and share the most promising scientific advances and medications that aim to alleviate the effects of this devastating disease. Certainly, Alzheimer's is one of the most dreadful diseases of our time. Identified in 1906 by the German psychiatrist Aloysius Alzheimer, 1864-1915, this neurodegenerative disorder continues to challenge the scientific community, affecting society as a whole. Despite significant progress, the specific cause of the problem remains unknown. So far, what is known is that Alzheimer's is triggered by the deposition of two proteins in the brain: beta amyloid, which accumulates between neurons, and tau, which concentrates within neurons. In this rampant process, there is a progressive loss of neurons in the hippocampus, responsible for memory, as well as in the cerebral cortex, governing memories, language, articulation, and stimuli related to the five senses. The disease more frequently affects individuals over 60 and is linked to environmental and genetic causes. Among the primary risk factors are diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. Additionally, conditions like depression, social isolation, and sedentary lifestyle also contribute to the likelihood of developing the disorder. Genetic occurrences are rarer, representing approximately 5%. In these cases, the disease manifests more severely, with a faster progression and onset at younger ages, before 60. Indeed, the risk is higher in individuals with first-degree relatives affected by the disorder. The remaining 95%, contrary to scientific expectations, exhibit sporadic onset. The disease is overwhelming, both for the afflicted and their family and friends. Everyone suffers around Alzheimer's, and the loss of these individuals to society is irreplaceable. Hence, the scientific community's efforts in the pursuit of a cure are ceaseless. Advances and new discoveries are always cause for celebration. In July 2023, the American pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly announced the results of the final phase of clinical trials for an experimental Alzheimer's drug. The compound, a monoclonal antibody named donanemab, proved capable of slowing cognitive decline in up to 60% of individuals in the early stages of the disease. The results were published in the scientific journal of the American Medical Association on July 17, 2023, and unveiled the same day at the annual International Conference of the Alzheimer's Association in Amsterdam, the capital of the Netherlands. The announcement of the new medication came just weeks after the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, approved the use of lecanemab, marketed as Leqembi, from the Japanese pharmaceutical company Eisai. There is also another promising drug on the market, aducanumab, sold under the name Aduhelm by the American biotechnology company Biogen, approved for use since 2021. All three medications work in the same way in the brain, eliminating clusters of the beta amyloid protein that damage neurons. The new study by pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly, released in July of last year, gathered 1,636 patients from 8 different countries, aged 60 to 85. All of them had mild cognitive impairment, but with varying levels of beta amyloid and tau accumulation. In the case of clinical trials involving donanemab, the medication was intravenously injected into patients every 4 weeks, over a period of 18 months. For this purpose, participants were divided into 2 major groups. The first group received the drug, while the second group received only a placebo. To the satisfaction of the researchers, the treatment successfully slowed down beta amyloid plaques in individuals who took the medication. On average, the reduction rate was 84% compared to only 1% for the placebo group volunteers. participants stopped receiving the medication once the desired level of protein clearance was reached. The surprising aspect is that approximately half of the participants achieved this condition in less than a year of testing. Among volunteers with low tau protein concentration in the brain, the elimination resulted in a 60% slower cognitive decline compared to the placebo group. Thus, the research findings emphasize that the earlier the diagnosis of the disease, the more effective its treatment can be. Unfortunately, the identification of Alzheimer's still relies on the cognitive impairment of the patient. However, a series of techniques are being developed for detecting the disorder through biomarkers, molecules that already exist in our bodies and identify abnormal processes in our organism. Additionally, family and friends are also important sources for early diagnosis. In the milder stage, the individual experiences recent memory loss, difficulty finding words, performing basic calculations, making simple decisions, general demotivation, frequent distractions, mood disorders, and a lack of interest in activities that were once considered enjoyable. In the moderate stage, there are more significant impairments in memory loss, including forgetting relevant facts such as names of family members and close acquaintances. Furthermore, there is an increased difficulty in speaking, writing, expressing oneself in general, and performing simple daily tasks, such as self-care and personal hygiene. Restlessness and irritability can become more constant, triggering paranoia and hallucinations, both visual and auditory. As the disease progresses, the individual reaches the most severe stage of Alzheimer's. The patient begins to suffer from loss of recent and distant memory, with great difficulty in retrieving information from the past and recognizing familiar people and places. There is also difficulty in eating, temporal and spatial disorientation, even within their own home. The disease also causes urinary and fecal incontinence, severe motor impairment, with the need for a wheelchair, leading to the complete dissolution of the self. In other words, the person not only fails to recognize others, but also loses the ability to recognize themselves, even in the mirror. It is important to note that not all memory loss is caused by the disease. If you or someone close is experiencing memory, cognition, and language problems, it is necessary to investigate the clinical origin of the symptoms. Some causes of dementia may be side effects of medications or simple vitamin deficiencies, which can be easily reversible. For individuals suffering from these symptoms and already diagnosed with Alzheimer's, the advent of these medications marks a radical turning point in the long and arduous journey to delay the progression of the disease, which currently affects over 50 million people worldwide. In the United States alone, 6.7 million individuals aged 60 and older are affected by the disorder. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, this number is expected to triple in 30 years. This is due to the aging of humans, one of the main risk factors for the development of the condition. This means that the older the world population, the larger the contingent of people with Alzheimer's. Estimates indicate that by 2050, the elderly will surpass 2 billion worldwide. In light of the epidemic nature of the near future, the WHO has launched a global action plan for dementia, extending until 2025, suggesting 7 actions for countries and areas lacking initiatives. Firstly, the plan emphasizes the need to prioritize public health, ensuring everyone has access to medical treatments and dignified care regardless of financial situation. Information dissemination and risk reduction follow, serving as means of societal awareness and prevention of factors that enhance the emergence of the problem. Diagnosis, treatment, and support for patients, as well as the creation of caregiver-friendly associations, come into focus after the identification of the disease, relying on the involvement of everyone in the process. Hence, the importance of developing support, including for caregivers. Finally, the WHO encourages research and innovation in the field. To give an idea of the low quantity of studies in the area, in 2016, 7,000 studies on Alzheimer's were published, compared to 15,000 on diabetes and 99,000 on cancer. As Alzheimer's is considered a global public health crisis, pharmaceutical companies and laboratories emphasize the need to find solutions to reduce the impact on patients' lives. This means more time in the less severe stages of the disease, as well as a delay in the onset of more debilitating stages. The problem is that innovative therapies often enter the market with a significantly high price tag. Currently, aducanumab is sold for $28,000, while lecanemab comes with a price tag of no less than $26,500 for Americans. Moreover, these new medications will not be available to all Alzheimer's patients. They will only be prescribed in early cases, since they do not bring improvements in the moderate or advanced stages of the disease. For now, patients with dementia in more advanced stages rely on cholinesterase inhibitors, memantine, and antidepressants, which alleviate symptoms such as agitation and emotional problems. However, the scientific community indicates changes in the future. Experts argue that Alzheimer's treatment will not be limited to antibodies against the beta amyloid protein. Reduction of brain inflammation and clearance of the tau protein are also among potential treatment targets. In the future, scientists believe that gene therapy will come into play, incorporating corrections for mutations and variations in genes. Even with so many advancements, scientists emphasize that the primary key to dealing with Alzheimer's will continue to be prevention. Society needs to understand that everyone is at risk of developing abnormal protein accumulation in the brain. Therefore, empathy and care for the afflicted, along with the prevention of key risk factors, are urgent. Engaging in physical activities, maintaining a balanced diet, social interaction, and stimulating cognitive and intellectual functions are crucial for maintaining brain health. Scientists also recommend activities that are falling out of favor, such as crossword puzzles, board games, and puzzles, which help stimulate memory and attention. Even this video you just watched is an excellent tool for gaining knowledge. The important thing is to keep the brain active. Read more, watch more movies, put your mind into action, and never lose hope in tomorrow, because Earth echoes in pursuit of evolution. If you enjoyed this content, write HOPE in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss new videos.